start this recording and then talk about
the Nettl. Okay, dope. Okay, so what's the Nettl? So the Nettl, the whole piece of the Nettl, which I believe is titled the German Social Democratic Party as a Political Model, is basically explaining, like, one, the history of the SPD, and two, like how the SPD looked like or whatnot, how it functioned or whatnot, how that political party is. So first, let's be clear. So like first, let's define, like, well, I guess let me actually ask this as a question or whatnot. Like, how do people understand how do people understand what a political party is? Like, if you had to give a definition, like, what, like, I don't know, or like an example of like what a political party is, like.
A point to mobilize for votes, basically, to obtain power.
Yeah, a point to mobilize people to take political power. Do you have like any ideas?
That's probably what I would say. It's like some sort of ideology to structure a country state by.
Yeah. I mean, basically that, right? Like the whole purpose of a political party is, it's an organization seeking to take authoritative power, of the state or not, to achieve its ends. It's an organization seeking to take authoritative power to achieve ends within, like, the state that it is in or not, right? The interesting thing is, prior to World War I, Imperial Germany, for Imperial Germany, a political party was more akin to like a politically organized interest group or whatnot, right? That influenced government in a negative manner rather than positive manner, or like more exactly, like through like persuasive pressure or whatnot, like how lobbyists or interest groups like influence the government, rather than like an authoritative power as like how political parties do or whatnot, right? So like in Germany or whatnot, like you had a Reichstag, which was like the German legislature or whatnot, right? Like basically what it would be is like this the Czar, because Russia is a Tsar. In German, it's spelled C-C-A-R, so I'll say Tsar. Okay, sorry. The Tsar of Germany, Tsar Wilhelm. Yeah. So, in Germany, like you had the imperial emperor or whatnot, right? The Tsar would make laws and everything like that, but like the whole purpose of the Reichstag or whatnot was basically to only influence the government, but it couldn't be the government or whatnot, right? So it's like it was a pressure group or whatnot. It was not a political party or whatnot, right? The exception to this was, interestingly enough, the Social Democratic Party of Germany, and also the Catholic Party, and there was also a Catholic Party, but we're not going to focus on that. The Social Democratic Party of Germany was it was an exception to this already peculiar organization, in that like the SPD sought the violent overthrow of the imperial German state to seize power, right, following the collapse of it. So imagine this, like, you have a Reichstag going on, you have a parliament or whatnot, you have all these parties who are not being like, oh yeah, the government should do this, or like trying to be like, the government should do this, but like trying to influence the government. And then you have this one fucking section called the SPD who's like, abolish the government, right? Like, or it's like, we're trying to wait for the government to collapse. Like, that's crazy, right? So it's like, you just had like this, like, you just had this like outcast party or whatnot being like, we want the state to be abolished or whatnot, right? Or like we're wanting the state
preying on the downfall.
Right, exactly, right, yeah. You have people in parliament who are like, yeah, we don't want to see Wilhelm Reich, or like we don't want to see the empire or whatnot. We want the system to collapse. We want to take power or whatnot, right? Like that's crazy or whatnot, right? So in this sense or whatnot, the SPD was an inheritor party or whatnot, right? So like, what it means to say that it's an inheritor party or whatnot is like, the SPD conceptualized themselves as like, once the state falls, we'll take power or whatnot, right? So it's like, they're not a political party in the sense that like, so they're not a political party in the traditional sense of like, we're just going to like, be voted into power. We're just going to like, once we take power, we'll like, we'll make it towards our hands. Or they're not like an interest group like as other political parties were in Germany, where it's like, we'll influence the government. It's like, no, we're waiting for your downfall. We will inherit this and whatnot, right? So like any political party, of course, like the one similarity or the one like more normal aspect of the SPD was like any political party, right? its leadership concerned itself with like everyday policy. However, what made the Socialist Party, what made socialist parties in general of the Second International unique or whatnot, is that they had the addition of intellectuals or whatnot, right, who maintained and developed the party's ideology and theory, right, I think about that, like in other political parties or whatnot, right, like you don't really have a role of like intellectuals per se or whatnot, right, like people who are like actively questioning or whatnot, right, or whose contribution to like the ideology of the party is unique or whatnot, or significant enough or whatnot, right? But like no, like you had intellectuals in the SPD who like maintained and developed the party's ideology and theory, and their contributions would be significant enough to like put the party's whole like raison d'etre or reason for existence into question, right? One such dispute of intellectuals like that became super big or whatnot was the revisionist dispute that occurred around 1898 to 1903 or whatnot, right? So the revisionist dispute or whatnot questioned the party's relationship to the broader society or whatnot, right? Or to the broader German society. So what does that mean? So prior to the formation of the Second International, prior to the formation of the Second International, the German SPD was illegal due to like anti-socialist laws that were established in Germany, which were enacted during the First International, right? So like basically like for some context on that or whatnot, right? During the First International, as you had these workers' movements start to create political parties or whatnot, right? You had nations all over the world or whatnot be like, no, socialism's illegal or whatnot, right? Like no, you cannot have a socialist party or whatnot, right? All that sort of stuff or whatnot. With the foundation of the Second International or whatnot, these laws basically start to like be withered away because like in some sense the workers' movement becomes so powerful enough where like the state has to be like, okay, fine, you can't have your political party or whatnot. Fine, you guys can participate in parliament or whatnot, even though you're trying to seek our overthrow. It's like yeah, fine, y'all can participate or whatnot, right? So with its newfound legality and its growth into a popular mass party, because remember, like if the SPD is representing the working class, the majority of people or whatnot, right? Like, yeah, like you're going to have like a popular mass party or whatnot, right? So one intellectual who was part of the revisionist dispute named Edward Bernstein basically proposed that capitalism had become sufficiently since the time of Marx to their present moment. Bernstein said that capitalism has become sufficiently democratic enough to permit the SPD to have a real electoral influence on the direction of society into socialism. To be more exact, Bernstein thought that social democracy referring to the party or whatnot, right? To be more exact, Edward Bernstein thought that social democracy and the workers movement could adequately reform capitalism to a gradual transition to socialism. So like Bernstein's like, hey, listen, like the state has become much more liberal. The state has become much more democratic. We don't need to do a revolution. We can reform our way into socialism or whatnot, right? And remember, when Bernstein wrote this, he didn't think he was revising Marx per se. He was just like, okay, look at our activities today. Like this is the thing. Little did he know, fucking sparked a whole ass controversy or whatnot, right? For this, like he and his followers, who tended to be like more like petty bourgeois socialists, so like lawyers, ultra party lawyers, or like lawyers like who engage with society, people who tend to be of like the middle class or the upper class or whatnot, who like voted socialist or who voted socialist, but then themselves not like part of the workers movement or whatnot, right? Or like part of the workers movement, but like they weren't working class per se or whatnot. And those who tended to live in like South of Germany or whatnot, they tended to like side with Bernstein or whatnot. Where like like you could have this engagement with society or whatnot, or like you could have this party's engagement with society or whatnot, right? Like this party doesn't have to like be isolated from society or whatnot. This party could be engaged with society or whatnot, right? In opposition to them, the leadership or whatnot, right, headed by its party executive August Bebel, who was a good friend of Friedrich Engels, who was a co-author with Karl Marx or whatnot. I guess it's explain that relation. So Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels or whatnot, founders of Marxism. Bebel's a friend of Engels or whatnot, right? Engels and him actually both started the German SPD and the Second International. So the party executive August Bebel and the leading intellectual Karl Kautsky, who's known as the Pope of Marxism or whatnot, He's known for actually making Marxism into a popular ideology or whatnot, right? Along with their followers, who tend to be like most of the working masses or whatnot, outcast in society and intra-party petty bourgeois, so like intra-party like lawyers within the party, like who would be defending like workers inside the party, or like internal like reporters within the party or whatnot, right? These people or whatnot tend to be part of the orthodoxy or whatnot, right? And call themselves as such because they saw that the gap between society and socialism referring to the movement or whatnot, as natural and desirable. In a sense, this dispute arose out of the practical activity of the party in the practical activity of the party in mass organizing with society, contradicting with the theoretical foundation of the party that the workers need to be independent from society. So, let's note this contradiction or whatnot, right? The contradiction here is the orthodox tendency or whatnot was, hey, the workers need to be an independent party or whatnot, right? Like the workers need to lead themselves or whatnot, right? The workers cannot be led by any other parties. The workers need to be an independent movement or whatnot. We need to be an independent socialist party. We need to be in some sense, like we need to be outside of society or whatnot, right? We're going to inherit society or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And then the opposite tendency was like, hey, we're a mass electoral party. Like, if we want to get we get votes by people, people voting for us or whatnot. Like, we're engaged with society or whatnot. This was basically the contradiction. This is the whole revisionist dispute or whatnot, right? Hey, our practical everyday activity as we're growing, this is what we're doing or whatnot. And then it's like, well, this is our theoretical foundation. That was a contradiction.
So one is like trying to work within the confines of society, and the other one is trying to literally undermine society to build the revolution.
Basically, yeah, exactly, precisely that, right? Let's see. Yeah, so what comes out of the revisionist dispute is you actually see the triumph, you actually, in some sense, see a victory for Marxism in the sense of you see the triumph of the orthodoxy in 1903 or whatnot, right? So basically, like the leadership is like no, like the leadership stands a firm ground or whatnot, and says like no, like we will not tolerate this revisionism or whatnot, right? And interestingly enough, like Rosa Luxemburg, like her contribution to the revisionist dispute was her actually advocating for for the revisionists to be thrown out of the party, and I think it was Kosky who was like, no, they don't need to be thrown out of the party or whatnot, right? But Luxemburg's whole contribution was actually saying that like Luxemburg as one of the orthodox, or at the time being one of the orthodox organizers, like the revisionists should be thrown out of the party or whatnot, right? But no, there's disagreements with that. So but you see the victory of the orthodoxy in 1903 with the leadership putting a firm ground by saying no, we're this gap between society and socialism is natural and desirable or whatnot, right? So with this victory or whatnot, social democracy and the Second International more broadly entered into a more revolutionary period or whatnot, with the prime example being the 1905 Russian Revolution. Right now we're going to be focused on the German scene, so we'll talk more about that later on. But let's know from starting from 1903 or whatnot, right? You basically have the workers enter into a more revolutionary period or whatnot, right? 1905 being the defining moment or whatnot of the times or whatnot, right? The Russian Revolution, right? The first Russian Revolution. There will be three, but more on that later. Right? Unfortunately, what following this period or whatnot, after I think 1906 or whatnot, is you had after this hurrah or whatnot, there was basically a period of political deflation or whatnot, right? That started to express the degradation of the SPD. So let's talk about what this degradation was. So now we're going to be talking about the SPD as a state within a state. So following the revisionist dispute, the SPD steadily grew to such a mass that it could be considered a state within a state. And this isn't merely a phrase. I'm not just saying state within a state. There were so many people in it or whatnot that I was it's as if it's a state within a state. No. They had their own schools. They had their own bureaucracy. They had their own welfare services. They had their own institutions as such. Let's be clear. It was a mass society, right? This political party was so again, when I say the left is dead or whatnot, remember, they had their own fucking society within society or whatnot, right? Again, they had bureaucracy, social services, all this sort of stuff. This is what the party provided or whatnot, right? And let's be clear or whatnot. This is quite peculiar, I guess. In a sense, like you'll see like colonial parties in like, for example, like in India, I know that there are some political parties that still do similar things, but just not to the extent of like the fucking German SPD or whatnot, right? So like German SPD, fucking, it was a state within a state or whatnot, right? But like, or sorry, like in fact, as the organization expanded, it was able to extend control over society, and its like supposed isolation tended to be much more imagination than fact. Because like, there's a certain point where you expand so large where it's like, okay, are you all really separated from society? Are you all like are you all becoming society or not? Right? Yeah. So during this period, so rather than be a challenge to society, it began in some sense to mirror society or become part of, like, become society or whatnot. And like, in some sense, Marxism, like, instead of it being like this revolutionary program or whatnot of like what to do or whatnot, it became more of just an ideology affirming party loyalty. Like, you might talk to someone about like Marx's idea of like overthrowing the state or whatnot, but it would just be words or whatnot, right? Like, it was just an ideology. Like, it in some sense, it just affirmed party loyalty or whatnot, right? So the irony, like the whole irony of this like development or whatnot is like, much of the recommendations the revisionists made were now being instituted by the party, but still in the name of orthodoxy or whatnot, right? So it's like some of the more like smarter revisionists or whatnot like looked at the development of the SPD as like, oh, funny, because it's like everything that we were like fucking criticized for or whatnot, now the party's doing it, but still in the name of orthodoxy or whatnot, right? Yeah. So let's see. Sorry, give me 1 second. So ironically, much of the recommendations for the revisionists made were now being instituted by the party, and the leadership became much more obsessed with its growth in elections than being an instrument for revolution. Because let's be clear here, like the Second International radicals, being the three people we will talk most about, or the three people who we will be reading their writing, Luxemburg, Lenin, and Trotsky or whatnot, they all understood the party to be an instrument for revolution. But what was being seen now or whatnot, that like, no, the party was now becoming in some sense an obstacle for revolution or whatnot, by becoming in a sense society itself or whatnot, right? Or like not even a challenge to society, but like a society, the society was trying to overthrow or whatnot, right? So this led to those on the left of the party or whatnot, right? So let's be clear, this is already a left party or whatnot, right? Within the party, you had a right or whatnot, so you would have, like, in some sense, the right of the left or whatnot, and then the left of the left, who are also known as the far left or whatnot. So those on the far left of the party, so those on the far, like, in society, they'd be known as the far left, but in the party, they would just be known as the left or whatnot. So those on the left of the party or whatnot began to question the purpose of organization, especially when in 1910, Black Friday, which was like a woman, I believe it was like some sort of women's march. It was like a women's suffragist movement, right? So during like the day of the women's suffragist movement or whatnot, right? On Black Friday in 1910 or whatnot, right? The party leadership served to be an obstacle to revolution, as it sought to like forbid or order action rather than identify a revolutionary period. So what happened during this time from 1904 to 1910 is like, as the party expanded or whatnot, like the party started to see itself as like, oh, like we could just order like when to do like activity, like when to like order when protests would happen or when strikes would happen or whatnot, or we could say like don't do that right now or whatnot. But like that's not the purpose of the party. The whole purpose of the party is to or like as the left side or as the far left side or whatnot. Like the whole purpose of a party or whatnot is to identify revolutionary moments and then like seize those moments or whatnot into like to the benefit of the working class or whatnot. Or like how do you take control of those moments or whatnot? Like how do you like navigate those moments rather than just like being like, oh yeah, do this, don't do that, like in some sense it's just like the party just became an order of it or whatnot, right? Let me move on, right? So with this expansion or whatnot, like this ultimately amounted to like the crisis of the SPD or whatnot, or like the SPD as Rosa Luxemburg puts it, a stinking corpse. Why is it called this? So as the SPD started to reflect more and more the society it sought to overthrow and inherit, there began to grow a schism in the party or whatnot. Those on the far left or whatnot, and then the party itself or whatnot, right? Because like the party like outwardly would like propose like an international workers movement, but privately they'd be like nationalist or whatnot, right? So it's like what the fuck, right? So it's like okay, they only talk about like Marxism in words or whatnot, but like everything they're doing in some sense is just anti-Marxist. Where the fuck did I put the pen? Oh, it's inside of me. Okay, sorry. So this culmination led to August 4th, 1914, like as we were talking about before, when the SPD basically capitulated to imperialism by voting for war credits in the Reichstag, marking the day was no longer an organ for revolution, but instead merely a left pressure group or whatnot. As Rosa Luxemburg puts it, social democracy is nothing but a stinking corpse or whatnot, right? So that amounted to 1914. So now let's very briefly talk about like the German left and the Bolsheviks or whatnot, right? So following the advent of World War I or whatnot, right? At this time I guess it would be known as the Great War because they didn't have a conception that there'd be another war after that, right? Following the advent of the Great War, those on the left of the SDP, the German left, or later known as the Spartacus League, the Spartacus League in 1918. Does anyone know who Spartacus was? So the reason why they gave their name is because Spartacus or whatnot was like a slave uprising or whatnot, right? Back in I believe ancient Greece or Rome. Yeah. So the Spartacus or whatnot was like it was a slave revolt that happened in ancient Rome or whatnot. So the German left or whatnot, or those on the far left or whatnot, right? They call themselves the Spartacus League or whatnot, like to represent that. Like, no, we will lead the revolution or whatnot because the SPD or whatnot has no longer become that or whatnot. So
the SPD.
Yeah, basically that. Like they basically split from the SPD or whatnot and say, okay, the SPD is a stinking corpse. We will be that true SPD, or we will be what the SPD was supposed to be or whatnot. This was the Spartacus League or whatnot, or the German left or whatnot, right? So the German left, I'll call them the Spartacus League or whatnot because that comes off the tongue more naturally. So the Spartacus League or whatnot, right, basically developed a theory of, but I should note that they called themselves the Spartacus League in 1918 or whatnot. Prior to that, they were known as just the German left or whatnot, right? So the Spartacus League developed a theory of organization and action akin to those of the Bolsheviks in Russia. We'll talk more about that next week, the week after that or whatnot, right? Akin to those of the Bolsheviks in Russia. Unlike the SPD, who held on to like a very undialectical formula that as you have the growth of the workers' movement, this would lead to the SPD had a very simple formula of as you have the growth of the workers' movement, you'd have this would lead to greater action or whatnot, right? It's kind of like the very we'll get into this once we get to the slaughter. It's a very economistic approach of like what's called crisis. Things get worse or crisis happens or whatnot, or like economic development or whatnot. Then you have revolution or whatnot, or then you have like this. This was the very simple formula that the German SPD held to. They thought as you have the movement grow or as you have the party grow or whatnot, then like you'd have action or whatnot, right? Then that would be it or whatnot, right? Unlike them or whatnot, right? So unlike this economist approach or whatnot, right? Sorry, give me 1 second. Yeah. So unlike the SPD who held on to this formula, the Spartacus League and the Bolsheviks understood that there was a dialectic between action, or as they put it in their papers, the masses or whatnot, between action and organization or whatnot. That one impacted the other or whatnot, right? Action led to better, or I guess they had different formulations. So in Russia, this theory was developed with Lenin. So in Russia, this theory of organization and action or whatnot, right, developed with Lenin competing with other illegal conspiratorial organizations vying for power or whatnot, right? So like in the Russian context or whatnot, like Russia did not have like a mass party as the German SPD. In Russia or whatnot, the Social Democratic Party was always illegal or whatnot in Russia or whatnot. So like Lenin was competing with other like conspiratorial underground movements or whatnot, right? So like in Germany, like you had this like mass legal party or whatnot, where it's like, oh yeah, they're known as society. Like Lenin was fucking hiding in the undergrounds or whatnot, competing with other like left groups or whatnot, where it's like, no, we're also trying to do it. So much more in some sense like insane scene going on in Russia or whatnot, right? So for Lenin, the Bolsheviks, in Russia, sorry. So for Lenin and the Bolsheviks, the primacy of the party was its organizational structure and discipline in invoking action. So for Lenin, the idea was like, okay, like the organizational structure of a party, the organizational discipline of a party or whatnot, right, impacts like how action happens in society or whatnot. And the whole point of the party is, like as the masses or as action takes place in society or whatnot, right? Like the party needs to organize to be ideologically disciplined to like leading that and also being like with it or whatnot, right? So it must lead the masses, but also follow the masses or whatnot. So lead and follow or whatnot, right? It must be imminent, but also like outside or like lead it or whatnot, right? But this was a dialectical understanding or whatnot, right? So it's like you have organization, or you have an ideologically rigid organization, you have leadership or whatnot, and then you have action, or you have the masses or whatnot, right? And then the party would adapt itself into leading the masses or whatnot, right? For the Spartacists or whatnot, or whereas for like Rosa Luxemburg and the Spartacist League or whatnot, the emphasis was on action, or was it on action and the transformation of the organization. And for Luxemburg's formulation, the idea was like, as you have like mass movements in society, or as you have action in society, this would like necessarily challenge like how an organization is formed or whatnot, right? In some sense, this difference, like later, like people will try to like pit Lenin and Luxemburg against each other or whatnot because of this difference. But the fact of the matter is, like, this difference was much more arbitrary than decisive, as both groups were brought together by this fact or whatnot, or both were brought together because they were giving an imminent dialectical critique of the SPD or whatnot, or of German social democracy, right? In Russia, this theory of organization, or whatnot, led to the 1917 October Revolution, whereas in Germany, this theory motivated their theory of mass action and whatnot motivated the 1919 Spartacus uprising. So just to be clear there of the two theories of that. So Lenin, Lenin and the Bolsheviks, or Lenin and his own Social Democratic Party, they're operating like as a legal conspiratorial group or whatnot, very underground movement or whatnot. Lenin basically develops a theory of like, hey, you need what is the whole point of organization? Like the whole point of an organization or whatnot is to be a organ of revolutionary consciousness. The party is the consciousness is like the historical consciousness of the working class or whatnot. And that like what the party needs to do is the party needs to be ahead of the masses or whatnot, right? The party needs to lead the masses or whatnot, lead this action or whatnot, but also like understand the movement of masses. Like, so it needs to lead the masses, but understand that the masses are going to move themselves or whatnot, right? The masses bring about the revolution, but the party the party ought to lead it or whatnot, or be the ideological like leaders of the organization. Whereas for Luxemburg or whatnot, right, in the context of like she saw like, the German, like the party had become the opposite. So it's like for Lenin, the party like the party was necessary for the workers' movement. The party was necessary for the consciousness of the workers' movement, right? And he developed this theory because, like, again, he was competing with other illegal underground orgs. For Luxemburg, like, what was the German context? For Luxemburg saw that as the party grew or whatnot, it became an obstacle to revolution or whatnot. That in fact, action was being hindered. The masses were being hindered by the party or whatnot. So Luxemburg developed an idea of like mass action or whatnot, where it's like, no, actually, as you have like movements arise in society or not, this should be transforming the organization. Let's be clear here or not. Lenin's not giving up on the masses, nor is Luxemburg giving up on the party or whatnot. They both understood a dialectical relationship between the two. Masses impact organization impacts masses. It's just their emphasis was different. Lenin emphasized the party or the organization, whereas Luxemburg emphasized the action or the masses or whatnot. Whereas the SPD or whatnot, right? Their understanding was just flat or whatnot, where it was just like, you build the movement or you build the party or whatnot, and then you have action or then you have action or whatnot, right? So it was just a one-to-one or whatnot. It was a causal relationship. Whereas for Lenin and Luxemburg, it's dialectical. Let me end the recording here.